Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. This is the last day of September, September 30th, Tuesday night here. Time for the 14First Alert Weather Show at 9 o'clock. We stream every night at 9 to give you another option there to catch the weather and a little longer form weather with a chance to ask your questions too. So I'll watch those on the 14 News Facebook page, and you can chime in if you have a pithy comment. pithy, TH. Or if you just want to shoot the breeze, we can do that too. There's certainly not much else going on. This has been some of the calmest weather after a really tumultuous spring. You know, we had the ice storm. We had any number of snowstorms, the tornadoes on April the 2nd and other dates in there. Then we went into the flooding, then the drought, and so now we're just kind of in a blah period here with not much happening. We will keep pushing those temperatures up to near 90 through Sunday, and we do have some rain chances next week, so we're going to focus on that since it's the only new thing that we really have to hang our hat on here. It shows up in the probability forecasting at about 20% early next week, which isn't much, but we'll see. You know, things can evolve and probably will as we get through the weekend and start next week. The temperatures, meanwhile, will be running about 8 to 11 degrees above the normal high of 77. We have cool, dry air that is basically filtered in over most of the northern, I'd say most of the country here, at least the northern two-thirds there. Along the Gulf, a little bit muggier there, 86 now at New Orleans, 92 at Phoenix. But look at the upper tier here, Helena there at 64, Pierre at 72, same as Evansville, 68 at Detroit, and 59 there on Lake Erie at Buffalo. So it's cooling down. Of course, it's, fall. It's supposed to be cool. Our current temperatures here around the tri-state have been sliding pretty quickly into the low 70s and even upper 60s there at Henderson, and we will continue to drop down to around 60 degrees again overnight. We hit 88 today, which is, again, 11 degrees warmer than normal, slightly cooler than yesterday's 89, and, I mean, as long as we're up here, we might as well hit those 90s, so we have something to complain about, but we don't. So there's the full month now, and you see we had our big dose of rainfall last week, exactly a week ago today, and yesterday there with nearly 4 inches in 3 days. So for the month, at least in the book, we're going to look pretty good, wetter and warmer than normal. However, as you know, we had a drought coming into and may have a drought going into the first week of October, if things don't wetten up pretty soon here. 80s tomorrow. Again, we will have just a few more clouds as a weak disturbance tries to get over that high pressure that's blocking it out. Skies will stay generally clear, though, through the period. The Gulf is still clear, so is the Caribbean. We have our pair of tropical systems there off the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina. This is Imelda, and then farther out we have Umberto. Imelda, kind of surprising everyone here, not only did it not turn left like it was supposed to and hit the U.S., it's racing out here toward Bermuda, beeline at Category 2 intensity, moving east at 12. Umberto is accelerating to north at 17. On our hour-by-hour forecast, the high pressure will hold at least through Thursday and maybe Friday as well. Well, no, definitely Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then next week, what we're looking at is kind of a breakdown in this blocking high pressure pattern. And what that will mean is, first off, the high pressure will move out. But secondly, we will then open up the Gulf. And that's really a warm, humid air down there that will begin to stream in and kind of seed the atmosphere for rain. Hopefully, we will get a little bit. Now, ideally, of course, we have the big West Side Nut Club Fall Festival here in Evansville going on all next week. That rain will come overnight, kind of wash the streets down and settle the dust. Our first hint at rain on the GFS model rolls in here Monday afternoon and maybe continues then through Tuesday afternoon, off and on, as a cold front then drops in early Wednesday. And that should bring us some cooler temperatures too. We're going to start the festival in the low to mid 80s, which isn't exactly festive. I mean, nobody seems to care on Franklin Street, but you know, typically the fall festival, you kind of wear a sweatshirt down there, a jacket, because it's chilly in the morning and in the evening. The European model also advertising some rain, and for similar reasons, a cold front coming together here on Monday out over northern Illinois and Missouri, and then punching in here on Monday night and Tuesday. And rain chances there on Tuesday afternoon, and then that's it for the rain on the European. Will we see thunderstorms? I don't know. At this stage, there isn't an outlook for severe weather or anything. Doesn't mean we won't have any. It's just not a real prominent, like, uh-oh, better look out. It's just rain at this stage. Tomorrow we should get up to 88 degrees, and you know the drill here. Nothing has changed. I mean, I literally just cut and pasted because it's the same stuff from day to day here this week. Our temperature outlook takes us up to the 10th of October, and we will stay well above normal and slightly wetter than the average there across the region. And our pet pick tonight, I like this so much I wanted to replay it. This is Hampton and Cleo sharing a hug before school. And Priscilla sent this in for all of us to see and enjoy. So I hope you will. Let's see if you have any questions, comments, concerns. And let's see here. I gotta get this situated so I can look at it. There we are. All right. And well, we got a few of us in here watching. I wouldn't expect a whole lot with the weather being so humdrum. Jeff Miller had 3.7 inches of rain for the month. Not surprising. Actually, a little surprising is that you haven't had more. I would have guessed you had over 4 inches out there. William Raleigh saw a Chessie System Heritage Unit sitting in Howell Yards this evening. Got some great shots with the perfect lighting. Oh, you were out there during the golden hour. You know, when I was in high school, so 16, 15, something like that, I had a friend who was, it still is, big railroad buff. And he had, back then you had these books, and it had the, I think either the serial number, builder number, there was something. And so we would go and look on the builder plate, you know, to see whatever that number was. And back then, the railroad didn't care. They were like, yeah, come on up here. And we climbed all over these locomotives. You know, they sat there. There used to be a big coaling tower next to where the roundhouse is, well, what's left of the roundhouse. And yeah, we just walked around, and they didn't care. I mean, we weren't doing anything destructive, but, and we'd ask permission, you know, we didn't just go on the railroad property, but it was a different world back then. And he got quite a few. And just for one other little thing, I was going through some files that my aunt had kept. She was the family historian, and my great-grandfather worked on the L&N Railroad, and there's a picture of him taken in 1937, and there are 2 huge steam locomotives, and all the guys that were working in the yard at that time, you know, were on there, and there's Ed Lyons, you know, doing whatever. He was like a switchman, brakeman, something like that. And then my other great-grandfather was a conductor. So, you know, he kind of had both ends of the spectrum in my family. And he would make the run to St. Louis and different places. So we have deep roots in the L&N Railroad, which unfortunately went away. When was that? Probably in the early 70s or late 70s. All right, a little railroad talk there. See, that made it worth your while there. Of course, a lot of you are saying, what are you talking about? It's a thing. And I live where we see the trains all the time. There's like 30 a day that go by. And every now and then you'll see them pull something that's out of the ordinary. Usually just CSX rolls by, you know, the screech and the horns. And I don't even hear train locomotives anymore. Well, part of it is because I don't hear, but the other is you just kind of get used to it. And, you know, cars banging into each other down there. But the point of the story is every now and then, like, you'll see it go by, and it'll have some locomotives for the Chicago Metra system, which is their, you know, the rail that goes like from Evanston into the city and the outer suburbs. Circus train, I saw a couple of those go by. Every once in a great while, you will see like a private rail car being probably just ferried on the back. So yeah, it's cool. Okay, we should probably talk weather. William Raleigh says they still use a round hat. Yeah, I've snuck around in there. It's pretty cool. William Raleigh's dad worked, the Grand Trunk Railroad. That'd be up in like Michigan, northern Indiana, right? For 1955 to 1992. Well, no wonder you're a rail fan. It's in your blood. Yeah. All right. Everybody else just saying good evening, so I'll return the favor here. Suzanne Daly, how are you? Paula Schaefer, as always. Cheyenne Hammonds is in. Lenny Howard. All right. Scott Owen. And that's it. So we've got a grand total of 18 of us here visiting over the weather tonight. So yeah, it's going to be fun down at the Fall Festival. I'll be down there next week, Monday through Thursday. So come see me if you're in the neighborhood and brave and don't mind trying to park and get in there, but it's well worth the effort if you can. A real quick science corner here tonight on cloud seeding. You know, you might wonder why don't we just seed our clouds so we get some rain here during these dry periods? Well, first off, we haven't had many clouds, and secondly, it doesn't work quite the way you might think it works. Typically, it's a small aircraft that drops silver iodide crystals, and that's a compound at probably the consistency of like cat litter or sugar, and as it goes through the cloud deck, it causes the molecules up there to supercool, and they freeze to the silver iodide. So basically what you're doing is you're creating a condensation nuclei, kind of like culturing pearls, right? You know, or you stick something in there to irritate the oyster and then it makes a pearl. Well, that's kind of, well, actually it's not the same process at all. Bad analogy, but you get the idea here. You're kind of putting your thumb on the scale of Mother Nature here to produce rain. Ski resorts use it a lot because, of course, you get a lot more bang for the buck. You think about it, 10 inches of snow is the equivalent of 1 inch of rain, so it wouldn't take much seeding, let's say, to get the snow to come down. The problem always is, where's that snow going to go? You might pay to see the clouds, seed the clouds over your ski resort, and then there go the clouds over to the neighbor who didn't pay anything. So usually it's a cooperative of people trying, you know, who had the same common interest to get snow or rain in their place. And of course, when that water freezes, it releases latent heat, which rises, and then it causes the cloud to continue to grow and basically replicates the water cycle there. Now, cloud seeding was first tried in the 1940s, and as I mentioned, typically it's done with small planes dropping silver iodide, and mainly in the western U.S. here, where you have ski resorts and things like that. In ideal conditions, it could boost the rain total that would come from any particular cloud or system by 10%, but it's not guaranteed, and oftentimes it doesn't work at all or work that well. So it does not really, it's one of the reasons that it's not done, say, by the government or anybody. There's really a lot of uncertainty, for one thing, and expense versus, you know, you might not get much of a result. So typically private companies like farmers, ski resorts, as I said, municipalities will do it. But any seeding activities do have to be cleared through the government by way of NOAA, the National Weather Service. They don't want you up there monkeying around with the weather if they don't know about it. And it's real important to note, and you know, we live in an age with conspiracy theories and stuff that circulates on the internet and around, but cloud seeding cannot create storms, nor can it reduce them, you know, like hurricanes and things like that. And it can't be done on a wide scale. You know, when you're talking hurricanes or big floods or things like that, you're talking about in scale, you know, macro scale, big things. And it just can't do that. It's not, you couldn't come up with enough silver iodide in planes to have an impact, say, on a hurricane or something like that. Oh, just a little food for thought there on Tuesday night. See if we have any other questions. Although, you know, maybe we could get Jeff Smith out there in Saval. That's small enough. We'll cloud seed that and see what happens. Rob Cornoyer's grandpa was a telegrapher for the CNEI at Fort Branch. Yeah, you know, they used to signal the trains with Morse code, and all railroad communications went that way. I read somewhere that the last Morse code train order I think it was on the B&O, and it was like in 1982 or some, really recent. It was like, I can't believe that. Paula Schaefer read about a geomagnetic storm that does affect the weather. Magnetic storms don't affect the weather, like rain, snow, sleet, hail kind of thing, but it is referred to as space weather, and that might be where you pick that up. There was actually pretty good geomagnetic storm early this morning, but it was only visible up like in Michigan. A few people saw it. I saw some pictures. William Raleigh also says they use the turntable still at the Roundhouse there at Howell Yard. Well, I have to ride my bike down there. Maybe if I wear a 14 shirt, I can play the weather card. And I'll do an out and about there for midday. That's what I'll do. That'll get me right in. I got to visit the sewage treatment plant today. You're going to like this one. I just finished the piece, so it'll run sometime next week. And you'll be fascinated to know what happens after you flush. It was really not what you would think at all. And I enjoyed going down there. And I talked to a really sharp guy, the operations manager at this is a West Side sewage plant, and his name was Kurt Clements. And he was enthused. He was a microbiology major and a degree from USI, and does this, and it's really cool. So you'll see that next week. A little shameless self-promotion there. You see what I mean? There's just no weather. All right, I think I'm going to have to wrap it up here. A little more train talk, and I think we got everybody covered. All right, I appreciate you watching here tonight. I will see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on the 14First Alert Weather Show. In the meantime, stay safe. Thanks for watching.